Hi, it's Rachel Greig, and today I'd like to share with you some ideas on how to use the abstract stamps to create your own collage papers that you can use in your card making or for your art journals or for your mixed media projects. So what I'm using in this video here is I've got our latest abstract stamps. Now that's number 9, 10, 11 and 12, but you could use any of our abstract stamps. So we're up to number 12. So as I am creating this video, we've got 12 different abstract stamps that you can use for this technique. And our abstract stamps are like a long, thin stamp that could be used as a border or for creating textures and layers in your art journal projects or your card making. But what I'm using them for today is to create some collage fodder or collage papers that you can then cut out or rip up and use them for layers in all of your projects. What I'm using is this is the number 9 abstract stamp, which is like a really funky little circle design. And I've just stamped it onto some book paper. So these are just old book pages from an old encyclopedia, and they've got some really nice sort of vintage feel, and they've got a really nice kind of texture to it as well. And I'm just using these abstract stamps with some Wendy Vecchi ink pads. So the first one that I was using was the Orange Blossom, and now I'm going ahead with the Peat Moss ink pad, which is like a really nice sort of grey greeny sort of a colour. And just using this checkered design here, this abstract stamp here. I'm just repeating the pattern, so going over the text. It just depends on what colours you want your collage papers to be, and then you'll choose whatever ink pad that you want, to go with your project. The colours that I'm using are kind of earthy colours. I really love these coloured ink pads from Wendy Vecchi. These are the Make Art Blendable ink pads. Now these are a water-based ink. So they can blend with water. If you wanted to actually stamp these and then get a water brush and just blend some of that stamp design out, you can do that with these ink pads. If you want something a little bit more permanent, you can use an archival ink pad. And Wendy's got a lot of these same colours in the Make Art Blendable water-based ink, as well as having them in the archival ink pad. So and the archival ink pad is a permanent ink, so it's an oil-based ink. So that means when you're stamping with one of those, which is what I'm doing now, then that ink will be permanent. So if you're putting anything over the top of it, like if you're doing a water coloring or something, then that ink won't bleed anywhere. It'll just stay where it is. So it just depends on what you want to do. If you know that you will be doing things over the top, if you'll be using like gel medium or any type of glaze or anything, and you don't want the ink to spread in any way, then I'd recommend using the archival inks. And I'm stamping this design up now. This is the abstract 11 stamp, and I'm just using the Peat Moss. So you can see now there the archival comes in, or the Peat Moss comes in the archival ink as well as that blendable ink. So if you're wondering, well, what is collage paper? This is just papers that you can rip up and trim and use in any way just to create layers in your project. So this stamp here that I'm using, this is the abstract 10 stamp, and this is like a handwritten script. It's not a readable script, it's just meant to be a nice little scripty design. I'm using the Fern green archival ink for that one there, just stamping it a couple of times. And all I'm doing is I've just grabbed a bunch of those book pages, the encyclopedia pages, and then just using the different types of stamps or the different abstract stamps and a bunch of those different inks to then just cover up these book pages with these designs. And it's a really great way, if you've only got like 10 minutes or 15 minutes to do some art, then this is a great way to do something creative and then build your stash of collage papers that you can use in future projects. And if you don't know how to use collage papers, I'll just show you at the end of this video how I just tear them up and then use them as layers on an art journal page or a card making project. So you can see here how I've just built up that little stash of papers, and that's all the ink pads that I was using. And now I'm just showing you how I just tear them into strips. Now you don't need to tear them into strips. You might want to use them as circles or squares or, much larger pieces than this. I'm just showing you now, though, is just how you can stamp a complete design and then tear it into little bits and pieces for whatever you need for your project. And I've pulled out my art journal now. This the page on the left has just a couple of gel prints, the circle gel prints, and now I can start adding these little collage papers just to build some layers there on my page. And that little craft piece there, that could start a card. And again, these collage papers would be really great for card making, and I have them all here ready to go for when I actually want to start to put them on some projects. So I hope this has given you some good ideas on how you can create some collage papers with these abstract stamps and build your paper collage stash ready for when you want to do some creating. Thanks so much for watching.